With the rise of phishing and masquerade scams, fraud and cybercrime are a concern for any business. Ask your Whitney banker how fraud prevention services can help lower your risk. Learn more at HancockWhitney.com. Member FDIC.
Major support for Out to Lunch is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker, established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys in offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. Additional support comes from Wyndham Garden Lafayette by Short & Associates, legal recruiters in Louisiana and Texas.
From Social on Johnson Street in Lafayette, we're out to lunch with creative business consultant Aileen Bennett. It's business, Acadiana style.
Hi, I'm Aileen Bennett. Welcome to Out to Lunch. Here in Acadiana, one of the things we value is tradition. By that, we mean not just Cajun and Creole culture, but the old-fashioned way of doing things. We don't mind if business takes a little longer to conduct and includes a long lunch and longer conversations about our families and football than business, because that's just the way it's done around here. On the other hand, we like to keep up with what's going on in the world and to have access to the same cutting-edge ideas and technology that you can get anywhere else. Today, I'd like you to meet two people who are at either end of that spectrum. They're both in versions of the health and fitness business, but pretty much everything about their approach to it is 180 degrees apart. John Williams is the co-owner of a second-generation family business called Pack and Paddle. Pack and Paddle is an outdoor lifestyle store that specializes in, among other pursuits, rock climbing, backpacking, canoeing, kayaking, fly fishing, and family camping. Besides selling equipment, John and his wife Becky lead trips into the Acadian lakes and bayous. And if you're looking to buy outdoor equipment online, don't Google Pack and Paddle, because they don't do business that way. John, welcome to Out to Lunch.
Thanks for having me on the show.
It's our pleasure. On the other end of the healthy lifestyle spectrum, there's a new business in town called Orange Theory Fitness. It's a high-tech gym where you work out in a group. You're wired up to a personal monitor, and your vital signs are displayed on giant screens while you're working out. The workout is based on a scientific principle called EPOC, which stands for Excess Post-Exercise Oxygen Consumption.
That's it.
Whoa. In case you think that's a bunch of crazy talk, Orange Theory is one of the fastest growing companies in America. Entrepreneur Magazine calls it one of the top franchises in the world. Here in Lafayette, Blaine Arnold is Orange Theory's head trainer. Blaine, welcome to Out to Lunch.
Thank you for having me. It's going to be a blast.
John, let's start by talking about your self-selected Luddite approach to business.
Okay. I love it.
I understand how you'd prefer to talk to people in your store to find out what suits them best so they leave happy and hopefully become lifelong customers. On the other hand, if a guy wants to buy a tent from the comfort of his own lazy boy and all you have to do is have it up on your website, why wouldn't you take his money?
Well, the reason isn't because to be difficult. Actually, the reason is based on the amount of bandwidth and the amount of me and Becky that there is to go around. So if we're spending, the way I look at it is, if we spend time taking that tent and taking pictures of it and typing up descriptions and putting it on the internet and talking to people in Kansas about it and putting it in a box and taping it up and shipping it, that's the amount of time we don't spend taking people paddling, don't spend time putting on events in the community, building community, and doing things here at home. So that's the reason. Not that we don't think it would work or that it's a good idea, but more purposefully, it's not something that we intend on doing.
It's just that your time is limited and you've chosen to spend it that way, which is...
Exactly. We're trying to grow roots deep in one community instead of being shallow in a lot of communities.
And we like that. Blaine, Orange Theory launched its first studio in Fort Lauderdale in 2010. Since then, it's taken off like a rocket. It's already spread to 12 countries, and it's in 45 states in the US. Then again, yoga, Pilates, hybrid workouts like Bar 3, as well as spinning and TRX seem to be popping up all over the place. Is Orange Theory benefiting from millennial fitness fad, or do you think it's some approach to fitness that is really some sort of revolutionary game changer?
Well, depending on how you look at it, all the other gyms are great, right? You'll never hear me say anything bad about another gym. It's just different. The concept with Orange Theory, with the heart rate, high interval training that you do, other gyms do that as well. But with the heart rate monitors displaying on screens to push yourself individually as a member, and also as a coach to watch you make sure you're not going over or beyond that heart rate zone we need you to be at, or make sure you're not slacking, right? I can also kick you in the tail and say, hey, come on, we need to get to that next zone. So that accountability that you hold your members to and they hold themselves to just with that heart rate monitor is out of this world.
I would think with both businesses, the hard thing is that first time somebody does something for both of you. How do you get people to feel okay about having a heart monitor display and everything on a wall? Or how do you feel them okay about coming into a store when they don't understand an intricate thing?
Right. Yeah, that's the problem with every business, and I'm sure you have the same thing. Is acquiring a new customer is much harder than keeping an existing customer. And for us, I think the trips and things that we lead are sort of an outreach. It gives people a way into Pack and Paddle that is not necessarily product centered, but more about, hey, kayaking, I see these kayaks on cars around town. What's this about? And then maybe they look online and then they see a Pack and Paddle trip and then they get interested, and so they take Kayaking 101 and then, it just goes on from there. So it's sort of I guess you could say, gateway drug for Pack and Paddle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people can really just call you with any questions and they can come along and know nothing about kayaking, and you take them out and you teach them everything they need to know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. One of the great things about our area as far as the outdoors is that we don't have 14,000 foot peaks, but we have amazing waterways that are fantastic for paddling, but it's all easy. It's, we don't have rushing rivers and class 5 rapids. We have swamps and marshes and beautiful places you can paddle in that you can be just as proficient as an expert the first time you go out, basically.
Yeah.
And Blaine, the same with you. How do you get someone to get over that fear and walk into your place?
Mainly with the attitude that you have, that you bring to them in the beginning. What we do at Orange Theory is all about our energy, right? Everybody's got to be successful, or is going to be successful with just your attitude. If you come in here with a bad attitude thinking you're not going to make it, well, then you obviously already beat yourself, right? We already bring you up. The minute you walk in the door, we are congratulating you, like, hey, what's up? How are you doing? What are your goals? Like, let's get in here. Remember, like, everyone is successful, no matter who you are. You might have never worked out a day in your life, but that's okay, right? Our end goal is the same, is where we want to go. So when you come in, we really tell you the energy is high, right? But if you at any point feel like you need to slow down, take a sip of water, grab your sip, right? I'll come high five you for what you did. That's what our whole goal is. Now, obviously, as it starts going further, then we push you a little harder. We're not a nutritionist, but we can give you ideas, right? You want to turn your whole lifestyle into what you do, right? And that's just with Pack and Paddle. I mean, it's the same thing. It's, you believe in it, you have to get them to just come show you, or you have to show them just one time.
Yeah. Well, for people, a lot of times for people, it's about intention. And once you set an intention, it's amazing what can happen. You could be looking through National Geographic magazine and see a guy in a kayak, and you could just turn the page and nothing happens. But sometimes if you make an intention, I want to paddle the entire Mississippi River, then they say, well, I got to get a kayak, or I got to go take Kayaking 101. And then the next thing you know, that you've achieved your goal. But it starts with the basic intention, and I think that's what you're saying.
Exactly.
So both of you are doing something you love, and you could have just done this in your spare time. You could have worked out, John, you could be out paddling. Why is this a business for you?
Well, I think it all goes down to the passion in it, right? And the opportunity came for me with Orange Theory. I was in a mortgage business, working behind a desk in a cube, and I said I would never do my whole life. Orange Theory came around, and I just went and took a class. I actually started in Baton Rouge, so they were like, you have to go take a class in New Orleans. And when I did, the type of way I could push myself in the group atmosphere was, it kind of hit home with me from playing in college ball, with that type of atmosphere of like a camaraderie with the group. as well as being able to push yourself so far. And when I felt that during this class, I was hooked right away. And the type of results I got from just 60 minutes was awesome. So from right there, and the energy was something that I always live with, like my type of attitude, always positive, right? I feel like life's too short to be negative. I really do. If you get upset about something, that's okay. I'll give you 5 minutes. And that's about it, right? But then put a smile on your face, because you can't do nothing about it, right? You have to learn from it. You have to get better from it.
So is Orange Theory like a kind of religion or a cult where you have to believe for it to work?
No, that's just my passion about it. That's just my passion about life is what it is. It's scientifically backed from our corporate office. So every single Orange Theory in the United States does the exact same class every day. So you have your coaches that have their own attitudes, their own personalities, but still teaching the same class because they know it's successful. It's scientifically proven.
Yeah, for us, I could honestly say I don't know if we have a business or a business has us. I mean, honestly, like this thing started when I was 12 years old. So I have 4 other siblings, and when we were growing up, we had to work. I mean, we were the typical family business where after school, come over because you have to cut the grass, or you have to load some canoes on a trailer, or you got to do whatever it took.
So John, what if Blaine showed up at Pack and Paddle? What adventures, obviously we've got someone with an adventurous spirit here, what would you tell him to do?
Let's see. He's a fitness guy. One of the things I would think about for Blaine that's sort of trended in the last few years is paddle racing. So there's, I don't know if people
Never
know
heard
this.
of that.
Yeah, well, there's a
It's stand-up
waterway.
paddleboarding. That's
Not paddleboarding.
Oh.
Well, maybe paddleboarding too, because that's a big core workout. But I was thinking more like Tour de Teche type paddling. So there's the Bayou Teche runs 138 miles just to the east of us, and it turns out to be a perfect waterway for paddle racing because there's hardly any boat traffic, and it's long and it's quiet and it's perfect. So they started a thing called the Tour de Teche, and what they do is they get on there and they race. And so
I'm all about competition.
And I've seen a few fitness guys that really get into this because it's a good upper body workout. It's an awesome core workout, and I could definitely see you getting into that and being pretty stoked about that.
I've paddleboarded about twice. That's about it. But it was fun. It was really cool.
Yeah, paddleboarding is the other thing that I think is it hasn't really trended here yet. Actually, some people have gotten into it, but we haven't seen that really become a big thing. But the interesting thing about paddleboarding is that it is, I think, almost 60% female sport. And are you interested in that?
yeah,
I see you shaking your head, right?
That's my thing.
Yeah, so paddleboarding is, you stand up and you can either just laze along or you can get after it, and it's a really good core workout. And also, have you seen the paddleboard yoga thing going on?
Uh-huh.
And we've taught paddleboard. We still do paddleboard classes, paddleboard trips, and we used to do the paddleboard yoga, and we haven't been doing that lately, but may pick that back up again.
You're listening to Out to Lunch. I'm Aileen Bennett, sitting in for Peter Risciuti. I'm talking with John Williams from the outdoor store Pack and Paddle and Blaine Arnold from the new workout concept gym, Orange Theory Fitness. And Blaine, if John came along to one of your classes, what would you recommend for him?
Lots of sit-ups.
Yeah, obviously, one of the cool things we have is our equipment varies, right? Treadmills, rowers, water rowers, right? We have a water rower. You ever done a rower before?
I have.
Yeah. So what's great there is because it's water, it's real smooth. It's almost like paddling on the water.
Explain this water rower.
Yeah. So a water rower, what it is, it's a machine that uses up to 84% of your muscles in your body. Low impact, no impact. You're not beating your joints up, maybe running or anything like that on a treadmill. It's smooth. You're literally pushing with your legs on the way back and coming back in. And because you're pulling on this handle, it's got a fan inside of a bucket, right, of water, right? And it goes through there, and it's really smooth. If you've never done it, it's something.
Is it just rowing, or is it also other types of paddling?
So it's just rowing.
Okay.
It's straight rowing, no paddling.
Okay.
But that kind of varies to kind of what you do.
I like rowing machines, actually.
Yeah, I have a blast on them, and they will whip my tail, I'll tell you that. I mean, it'll get your heart rate spiked up quick.
I know.
But then also stability, balance, things like that. He would obviously be interested in a boat or a paddle or something. You constantly have to have your core tight, right, to fight the water, fight the rapids. In the weight room, we have Bosu balls. We do a lot of training there. What a Bosu ball is just a little air-filled ball that you stand on or sit on or do sit-ups on, and it actually engages your core because you're unstable, right? Instead of being stable on the ground, you're unstable on this little rocking thing, and you have to really engage your core to be able to stabilize yourself there.
Yeah, that's a big thing, and I do think that a lot of outdoor people could benefit from from working out, and I know that like for instance, Becky, my wife, she's hiking the Camino right now.
Wow.
So she's about 12 days into a 35-day hike. Well, she spent like 3 months working out before she went to make sure that when she got there, she wasn't going to get injured and that it was more fun and she wasn't struggling. So I definitely think, all the gyms are a great complement for any outdoor person because it's about an active lifestyle, and I think that's what you're talking about.
That's it, exactly. Same attitude, the active lifestyle. I mean, they go hand in hand. I mean, if you want to do the paddling, right, you have to help yourself get there, right? Maybe you can't do the paddling right away, but we help you to get there, and then you go on a 35-day hike. It helps you, especially like with endurance, to last 35 days and hike. That's something you have to work on.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not something where you just start working out 2 weeks before.
Exactly.
You've got to make a little bit of a long-term commitment. Or the more serious the endeavor is, the more the commitment would help you enjoy it more.
Yeah,
mainly.
sure.
See, so you have so much in common. You're not 180 degrees apart. You come from different angles for the same thing. John, Blaine, it's time for the part of the show we call Your Brother-in-Law. You're wrapping up a long day at work when your phone rings. It's your brother-in-law. Now, normally he only calls when he wants to borrow something, but this time the conversation's a little bit different. John, your brother-in-law has just got back from working at an ad agency in Dallas, and he has a great idea that everybody's doing these days called content marketing. It's basically getting people to look at you online without realizing they're being sold your product. His idea for you is you're going to be the host of a web video series. It's going to be like the Cajun Tonight Show. You interview local people, the band is the Lost Bayou Ramblers, and it all takes place in the event space at your store. Your brother-in-law is prepared to produce the whole thing for you just for a few $1,000. What do you say? Are you ready to change things up and try a content marketing campaign?
Good question. I love content marketing, actually. I'm totally into that. I don't know if I would take it that direction, but it's creative. I like the idea of using that space. And in case people don't know what we're talking about, we have the boat room, which has very high ceilings, has a huge drop-down screen and has big sound system, and we show movies, and we have guest speakers, and we have all kinds of things going on. And so that might be a really good idea. What we have done content marketing on, and we still do, is we produce a lot of how-to type videos. So especially for kayaking, especially for kayak fishing. Kayak fishing is one of the big things that's going on right now, and so we produced dozens of videos on how to fish for certain types of fish, how to sight fish, how to rig your kayak, how to, and we find that these how-to videos, even though we're helping people do things that they could bring to us that we could do for pay, it still just raises awareness about practicing paddling and sets us apart in the community.
Yeah, and it builds you as the expert, which you are in that field.
Absolutely, and I think that content marketing is super smart, and for a small business like ours, costs are just, the costs of traditional advertising is so expensive. You can make a lot of traction if you can do something quality that, but again, it's just the same thing. You have to bring some value to the watcher. If you're not bringing a value to the watcher with the content, in other words, if you're just making an ad for some products, there's no content, there's no value there for them to watch the content. So then there's no dice. It doesn't work.
That makes complete business sense. Blaine, your brother-in-law has a great idea for taking cutting-edge fitness to small towns around Acadiana. It's called Orange Theory Mobile. Basically, you fit out a Winnebago to be an Orange Theory gym, and you do a circuit around the area, Eunice, Crowley, Church Point, and so on. If Orange Theory HQ don't sign off on that idea, he says the two of you could do it independently. He thinks it'll make a killing, and if it doesn't work, he'll live in the Winnebago. So you can't lose. What do you say? Do you think a mobile gym could work in Acadiana?
Oh, man. I've actually thought about it, going to places, because a lot of people are busy, right? Our lifestyle now is all about what's the quickest way to get something. So having a mobile gym like that might be a great idea. But then you also said he wants to take Orange Theory there. Where do you get your Wi-Fi? You know, we have technology in our thing. It's not just basic weights, lifting weights and things like that. We have a lot of technology that goes around in the studio, right? So that's another thing is like, okay, well, where's our electrical source? But the idea,
He's so practical. I love
the
it.
idea of bringing that to somebody, I absolutely love. I think that's a great idea to actually
Well, maybe we should. What we ought to do
bring
is
the fitness to them.
No, what we ought to do is have your customers meet at Lake Martin for a fitness paddling session where
Perfect.
someone teaches them basically how to paddle, and then you do the fitness part, and you take them through stretching and a few exercises, and then we get on the water and we
paddle.
paddle.
And we have a good time.
And eventually we can get high-tech boats where they can read all their heart monitors on the water.
Exactly.
No, and it all needs to feed to you so you can yell at them.
Exactly. Well, actually, now that I think about it, it's all Bluetooth. So all you need is your phone. You hook your heart rate monitor on. You look at your phone. It tells you those heart rate zones you're in. We can make this work.
We have a whole new business. So, Dominic, what's next? Where's the future? Where are the businesses going?
I don't know. For us, that's a good question because retail is changing, and I mean we do all the trips and events and things to support the store and make the store part of the community. But like you said, you know, there's so much online shopping, and you have big box stores, and you know the landscape is changing, and so you know it is a little bit of a gut check, and we've had not the best 2 years of oil field economy in Lafayette, and we had a big flood in the fall, and so but on the other hand, we're doing pretty well. And Lafayette, one of the things about Lafayette is that Lafayette, I find, is so supportive to local businesses because I've been in a lot of other communities where you go there and it's hard to find a non-chain restaurant and it's hard to find a non-chain store. But in Lafayette, I think we're so lucky that the people here, and I don't know if it's just the tradition or that people tend to stay here, grow up here and tend to stay here, but I do find that people support local businesses tremendously, and we feel really, really lucky to be here and be part of Lafayette, and so basically our plan is just to double down, and we're not going on the internet. We're not going to sell online, and we're gonna try to keep growing deeper in the community, and we're going to try to keep showing people that they live in a place where we're not Asheville, North Carolina, or Boulder, Colorado, but in our way, we're just as good as any of those places for an outdoor enthusiast. We have a word for it. We call it Paddler's Paradise, because if you want to be a paddler and you're not looking for whitewater, it'd be hard to live in a better place with more opportunities to be a paddler. And so getting that word out and letting people know that, even though we've been saying it for 40-something years, letting people know that there's that opportunity close to home, things to do in the evening, things to do on the weekends that are easy and close. That's our thing. And we'll rock up and down with the economy just like we've been doing for 45 years. So that's basically our plan.
Lafayette's lucky to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much.
The business side. Oh, man. I'm on the fitness side. No, I'm kidding. Our Orange Theory as a corporate office out of Florida and Fort Lauderdale, they do a great job of updating workouts, constantly changing the workouts. That's one of the big things, too, is some people get bored with workouts. Our workout never is the same, ever. We'll have the same focus, but you'll never do the same class in 365 days. So it's awesome. There's constantly different things changing every month. We'll have a competition. This month we're doing a marathon. So every time you get on the treadmill, when you come into class, you capture your distance you ran on that treadmill. At the end of the month, you're going to add them up and try to hit a certain goal. So what we look at it, and I joke about it all the time, is most people run a marathon in one day. We get a whole month, right? You get 30 days to run it. That's our whole goal.
You do that.
I can do that too.
Yeah, exactly.
John, Blaine, we've come to the part of the show where we have to work off the pounds and the calories we've been consuming. That means getting out of here and hitting the gym or the hiking trail. It's been great to spend time with you both. Thank you for taking the time to join me today on Out to Lunch.
Thank you, Aileen.
Appreciate it.
I've enjoyed it. It's very good.
My guests on Out to Lunch today have been John Williams, co-owner of Pack and Paddle, and Blaine Arnold, head trainer at Orange Theory Fitness in Lafayette. You can find out more about John's store and Blaine's gym by following the links on our websites, krvs.org and itsacadiana.com. Today's show is recorded live over lunch at Social Southern Table and Bar. Social is open 6 days a week for lunch and dinner and for brunch on Sundays. The producer of our show is Grant Morris. Our technical producer is Eric Merle. Our researcher is Anne Christian. Our theme song, Encore Monsieur Nice Guy, is written by Mitch Foreman and produced by Mitch Foreman and Andre Michaud. Our Acadiana business consultants are Pete Prados from Innovate Acadiana, Zach Barker from The Opportunity Machine, and Dr. Blake Escudé. If you want to know what we all look like, you can find photos from this show on our website and Facebook page. These photos were taken by Gwen Oakman. You can get this show as a podcast, you can listen to past shows, and you can keep up with us on all kinds of social media by going to our websites, itsacadiana.com and krvs.org. Support for Out to Lunch Acadiana comes from Wyndham Garden Lafayette, located off Pinhook near Cali's Saloon. Wyndham Garden Lafayette is a pet and family friendly with free parking, free Wi-Fi and a free shuttle within a 3-mile radius, including airport and downtown restaurants. Additional support comes from ABiz Magazine and AcadianaBusiness.com, the essential information source for business decision makers throughout the One Acadiana region. Out to Lunch is a production of INO Broadcasting for itsacadiana.com and KRVS 88.7 FM. I'm Aileen Bennett, sitting in for Peter Rusciuti. Thanks for joining me. We'll be back around the lunch table next week. I hope you'll join us again then for more business Acadiana style on Out to Lunch.
Major support for Out to Lunch is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker, established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys in offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. Additional support comes from Wyndham Garden Lafayette by Short & Associates, legal recruiters in Louisiana and Texas.
With the rise of phishing and masquerade scams, fraud and cybercrime are a concern for any business. Ask your Whitney banker how fraud prevention services can help lower your risk. Learn more at HancockWhitney.com. Member FDIC.